It's taken everything in me to like not upload these videos like as soon as I get the opportunity to, like, to give you guys daily uploads, because I know there's gonna get to a point where I can't do that, and I don't want you guys to get used to that, and I don't want myself to get used to that either. So I need to start like recording them in advance and uploading them in advance, which is why, you know, this is all you're pretty much getting for the rest of the year. And it sounds like a lot when I'm saying it, but by the time you hear it, you're probably gonna see this on the 2nd, and it's the 30th, and I'm recording this. So I'm recording this video for the future. You won't see it till next year. Woo! But, you know, those of you that were at the stream, you already saw this game, so it's whatever. Double Silvally, which is pretty awesome. Kind of affects the versus background that I'm using. And then, you know, I've got Z conversion, Porygon Z, and then I got, you know, some other dudes. He's got some dudes as well. He's got a Mega, he's got a Z move, he's got a Silvally, he's got the important stuff, and he's got Lele too, so that's going to be fun to fight. I do have a Dark type in the form of Incineroar, which kind of matches up decently, I guess, against it, but you know, nothing to really write home about. So, lead off the game, I'm going to go and lead off with Mamoswine. Everybody knows at this point that this is my lead Mamoswine with Focus Sash and Rocks. And I was like, you know what, if he's going to lead off with Marowak, I'm just going to bot this thing with an Earthquake, you know, completely take it out. And this is a matchup I had not experimented with yet. You know, the fact that a Jolly Earthquake does not knock out a Alolan Marowak in one shot, and that's really unfortunate. I'm not sure if Adamant does. I get the feeling Adamant would, or it has a good chance to. But he knocks me down on my Sash with Flare Blitz, and he gets the Flare Blitz burn. And this is just I mean, A, that was a big shock to me because that only has a 10% chance of happening. But B, the bigger shock behind it is I lose a pretty key player in this game to something that I was not expecting the Marowak A to live the hit. And, you know, B, Mamoswine usually does way more than that. Like, Mamoswine can completely turn games around for you if you use them right. But to just lose it like that on turn 1 through a Sash to a Marowak, which you would ordinarily have a type advantage against. It's just completely unreal. So, you know, outside of that, I'm trying to bring myself back into it. But he's got an Alolan Muck, and you know, he can bring that in on my Roserade at any time. Sludge Bomb is not really doing anything. That's maybe like a 5-hit KO if I'm lucky. But at least I can kind of work from here. I can go ahead and go for the Sleep Powder and then just kind of pivot accordingly, figure out what I'm going to do about Alolan Muck. I don't have a straight answer to it, is what I'm noticing, because, I mean, if I'm remembering correctly, I have Incineroar, I have Silvally, I have Porygon Z, and then I had Mamoswine. Mamoswine was probably like my main answer to this thing, just hit this with an Earthquake too. But it turns out he actually gets the first turn Wake, which is pretty damn unfortunate, and he knocks off my Choice Band. I was fully prepared to just end up going for a Choice Banded Double Edge, because that is what I'm running on this thing. I'm running Double Edge, Shadow Claw, I think Rock Slide, and Parting Shot on this set. And Parting Shot is just a good pivot move, so I figure I'm going to go for it right now anyway. Like I said, I don't really have a straight answer now that he knocked off my Choice Band, and I don't want to take any more damage than I have to, especially, you know, this being a pivot mon and everything. It's a little important. I'm going to see if I can do the job with something else. So I decided to go into my Salt Vest Incineroar, and I think this thing actually is probably going to be one of the better. I don't think Primarine is really that good, but I haven't used a Choice Specs one yet. I get the feeling, you know, with Finny and Azumarill, Primarina might be a little bit outshadowed. And then I don't have enough experience with Decidueye to really make that call, but I feel like once Incineroar's hidden ability comes out, we're just going to or, you know, that will be Intimidate when it comes out. So Intimidate with an Assault Vest. This thing has a lot of good natural defenses. In terms of typing, I should say. It's got a reasonable amount of bulk as well, you know, with resistance and knockoff and, you know, all that stuff. I like it. I like it, and I think that it could, you know, have a shot being a slower Fire Dark that is not bad. So, well, I mean, it's not terrible. As much shit as you want to talk about its design, I think it's going to be, it'll have its place, is ultimately what I'm trying to say. Double Silvally on the screen. I'm so excited, but it's a little bit of a different set. He has a Flame Charge multi-attack set here. And I actually end up living this on 9 HP, and I figure I was going to end up just going for a Parting Shot. So he has a Speed Boost, but he also has the lowered attack, and I'm going to go ahead and pivot out. And I'm noticing that his is a different color, which means that he does have a memory equipped, which means that I don't necessarily know what it is yet. I'm going to have to look at my bottom screen to actually figure out what it is. And as he goes for Parting Shot, as I go for a move, I went for Darkest Lariat because my bottom screen told me that Flare Blitz was not going to be super effective, which means that he was probably, and I think Leech Life was neutral as well. So I think that meant that he was Rock. because also when I was looking at Silvally on the previous turn, Double Edge was not very effective, and then Shadow Claw and Rock Slide were neutral, so that meant he had to be Rock type just based off of that information, which kind of helps with Pokemon like that where you don't really have a lot of time to go look at what it is based off of the description. I didn't have to think about that too much, but a little bit of pivoting happening there, basically between, you know, two Silvallies going for Parting Shot. We end up with Finny as the hard counter to Incineroar, and then we end up with Roserade as the hard counter to Finny, and then we go back into Muck, and we're pretty much where we were 2 minutes ago, unfortunately. Haven't made much progress on this thing at all. I've got it at about half HP, and that's all that this Roserade is doing, just like trying to chip away at this Muck, because it's going to be the switch in every time. And I'm going to end up losing a decent amount of HP to Life Orb because of it, but he ends up going for a Protect right here, which is actually pretty important. It means I get to go for a free Double Edge after he protects again. I'm not sure what the utility behind that was in terms of, you know, if he was just going to scout that I was going to do it, but I legitimately was just set on doing that because he doesn't have any ghost types, so something's just going to end up taking a stab Double Edge. It's not boosted anymore because he knocked off my choice band, but I still feel like I can do some decent damage to something, and he brings in his bulkiest thing on his team, which is going to be his Finny. It's also a good invitation for me to die to Recoil and bring in Roserade immediately after, and just try to do a little bit more damage to Muck. As you can see, the Double Edge really doesn't do as much as I wanted it to. I'm not sure if... No, I don't think he is a defensive Finny. He might be bulky, but I don't think he's, you know, straight defensive. If I'm remembering this next turn, I just decide, screw it, I'm gonna click that win button, that Z conversion button, because that's what they do. And I actually like Z conversion to electric because it means you can't get thunder waved, and that's pretty important for a Porygon Z to keep its speed. And, you know, to not actually have that chance to get paralyzed by anything. More people I see use Ghost as opposed to Electric, and that's totally fine too. I also like that the fact on the Electric Z conversion with adaptability lets you one-shot Toxapex with T-Bolt, which is pretty important to me because that thing's a little bit of a problem to take out. I'm completely ignoring the fact that this Z move is happening on screen. This thing is... We both went for Z moves on the same turn. I don't think if I wasn't able to Z conversion first that I would have been able to live that, but I live it not terribly well, but I mean, it is a Z move coming off of a, you know, it's a stab Z move, so that thing's gonna hurt a little bit more. Anyway, he brings in his Alakazam. I was like, oh crap, this thing isn't really gonna do anything, whether or not it's the Sash variant or if it's the Mega. And it turns out he's going to end up tracing my adaptability, but I actually end up being faster than him, not to jump too far ahead. But after a Z conversion, I do outspeed a Mega Alakazam. I'm not sure if he was running... I'm not sure what the relevance in speed is there. Like, if Modest was slower than me and he was just running Modest, you know, Mega Alakazam because it just gets the speed boost after it Megas, or if he was running Timid and Timid is slower. I didn't bother to look that up. I could look it up right now, but I feel like that would be just a little dumb. So, you know, it's one of those two possibilities. He's running Modest and he just didn't outspeed me, or he was running Timid and there was nothing he could have done at that point. It's kind of the same standpoint that we had in the live stream as well. But the cool thing about this Porygon is it's actually going to let me make up a little bit of lost ground here in terms of what I did not have Mamoswine for. PZ is actually able to just wipe half his team off the board. Took out Tapu Fini in one hit. Took out Mega Alakazam in one hit. Cleaned up what Roserade was having a lot of trouble with an adaptability Thunderbolt. And I'm not, unfortunately, going to be able to take out Lele with a Shadow Ball. If I had Z-converted to Shadow Ball instead, I feel like T-Bolt might have been able to do the job on Lele at the range of HP that it was at, and I think PZ would have just clean swept from here because I think he just has Lele and he has Silvally left at this point, which I could have done a pretty significant amount with Thunderbolt or Ice Beam after the Z conversion, and then it would have been in a good foot. But this is where things start to slowly go downhill because I go for Fake Out completely forgetting about the terrain. So we're basically going to nickel and dime our way into a bad situation. Basically means that I've also got my Assault Vest knocked off from earlier, so keep that in mind. I did mention that I was that, but that got rid of a lot of items, and let me tell you, I'm missing that Assault Vest in a big way right now. I do have, Darkest Lariat and Leech Life. I probably would have gone for the Lariat, honestly, just to, pick it off from that range. If I had just gone for the Lariat the turn earlier, I feel like I would have been in a way better boat, because I still would have had, a 70 HP freaking whatchamacallit versus the Silvally. But on top of that, now I have to risk my Tapu Lele, and you know what? It might not even have been a risk, because this thing is not hyper trained yet, and it is HP Fire, so he could just have a perfect speed one, perfect speed timid one, or if he has HP Fire too and he wasn't hyper trained as well, it could have been a tie, you know, that kind of thing. But I know he was faster than me. He did get the Moonblast special attack drop, which is, you know, more nickel and diming just to stack against me in that way. So Silvally's going to come in right now, use me as setup fodder, pretty much go for Flame Charge to ensure that he can outspeed whatever is left on my team. And I believe at this point I just have Lele and Roserade, and I feel like I might have locked in on the wrong move, honestly. I went for Moonblast because, you know, Lele didn't resist it, but the Moonblast special attack drop from his Lele is kind of hurting me a little bit here, but ultimately I don't think it matters at this point in the game, because even with the special attack drop, I would not have been able to knock him out normally, even though I am just a Specs one. I feel like he still would have been able to live it. Silvally's got a really decent amount of bulk, and he's just going to be able to knock me out with a multi-attack from here. He could have done it with a Flame Charge, I'm pretty sure, too. But that's going to leave the game 1-0, I believe, in his favor. It was still a lot of fun. I guess the lesson you can learn from here, kids, is pay attention to the terrains. Like, even if you're the one using it and the field's a different color, remember what you're doing before you click, especially in a live stream, if you're doing the match live or something like that, or you're in a tournament, you know. Look at the terrain, look at the field effects. You can look at them now on the bottom screen. You have 90 seconds to pick your move before that happens in just regular Wi-Fi battles. And I just think that's really relevant and important. So anyways, that's going to do for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. If you did, you can leave a like rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. You guys know how that works. Not sure what my upload schedule is going to look like this week, but I will definitely let you guys know as soon as I figure it out. It's pretty random all over the board. But when I can, you know, I announce it on Twitch, or I announce it on Twitter, I announce it on Tumblr as well, and yeah, it's a thing. Anyways, social media in the bottom, you guys know what to do, and I'll see you guys in the next one.